Welcome everyone, I'm Plays Games and this is episode 12 of our EVE Online Let's Play. In the previous episode we ran the entire advanced military career. We didn't learn very much or fight many things, but we did get a third Punisher and a Coercer Destroyer which we retrofitted into a dedicated salvaging ship. When I left you I was at a loss of what to do, and I said we'd maybe go to market and try and sell some things. So I think that's what we're going to do. These are all the things we have for sale. You're thinking, why am I selling the Executioner? I'm not, I'm just taking it with us because I want to do something special at trade hubs. It's just going there and selling stuff isn't very interesting. One way of seeing the best price we can get for our 104 million estimated thing would be to manually fly to each and every trade hub in the game, or at least into the regions, to see the price in the market. And that would take forever, and I don't want to do that. It's only selling for 5 million here because someone's being cheeky. If I did that, set destination, add waypoint, add waypoint, add waypoint, and add waypoint. These are just the main hubs. These aren't all the hubs. Optimize the route. Optimize route. Reshuffles everything. So there's less jumps to do. If you look here, this arrow here is very, very bad. At the minute there is a lore event happening with a strange race of bad guys who's actually invaded and taken over certain systems and suppressed their security status. Niardia was always a bad place to go anyway, because it was on the main pipeline between the Amarr and the Jita trade hubs, which are the two largest trade hubs. And it was where player pirates would kill people carrying high value goods and steal their stuff. So I would have been wary of going there anyway. And now it's been suppressed. Concord have been turned off, so there's no police protection, and it's absolute anarchy in there at the minute. So we don't want to go there. So you can right click on it and avoid Niardia. Oh, look at what that's done to the route. Going all the way around Niardia has made Amarr to Jita, instead of 12 jumps, it's now 45. And it goes right past the other two trade hubs. So this would take 53 jumps, a long time to get up there. And even if we got up to Jita, it might not be the best price. So instead what I did, these are all the links that I know from 13 years of playing the game, is the EVE Tycoon website, which shows you market from all the regions in the game. Yes, it's a little bit cheaty, but that's just how it goes. And unfortunately for us, from looking at the EVE Tycoon website, I found out that our lovely 104 million-esque thing is only selling for 72.6 in Amarr. It's selling for 51.6 in Dodexi and 40.7 in Heck. But in the system right next door to Jita, it's selling for 99. So I'm going to take the time and go all the way up here. But that means I can remove that waypoint because I don't need to go there, and I can remove that waypoint. I don't need to go there, but I do need to go here. So I'm just going to swan off and do this 49 jumps all on my own. So instead of just, if we take the Executioner out, we only need 140 odd cargo, and probably putting a cargo expander on the Punisher would do that, but I don't want to carry 104 million in a Punisher because someone might target us, use a ship scanner or a cargo scanner to see inside and then kill us. So I decided to take the whole can and take the Sigil, which is after all a hauler. But the Sigil doesn't have enough cargo to take the whole box. So I theory crafted a fit for it just here. And this is what it looks like. 2 cargo expanders to push it over the 3000. We need to carry the box. Now, it's still holding 105 million and it's still a juicy target. So I've added some shield extenders to give us more shield. A couple of passive shield resistance bonuses to bump up the EM and thermal, which were the two weakest ones, to bump up the HP. And a damage control, which provides a small amount of resistances to everything else. These things here, and inertial stabilizers, speed up your align time, and the align time is how long it goes from 0 velocity to getting into warp. We turn them all off. 10.54 seconds, and 11 seconds to align and warp is just wasting my life. So 1 gets us down to 8.77, which is the same as 9. 2, 7.5, which is almost 8. And 3 puts us to 6.78, which is almost 7 and a fourth. Again, diminishing returns. So 3 is the best we can do. We don't have any of these modules at the minute, apart from the cargo expanders. That's what we'll do. We know that Amarr's only 4 jumps away, so I'll take the loot box. I'll put cargo expanders on, I'll take the loot box, I'll get to Amarr, sell a couple of things, buy this fit, and then I'll go all the way up to Jita. Okay, here we are in Amarr. Now, bought and fitted out the ship. 17,179 effective hit points. This is good because quite a common ship which is used to one-shot kill haulers deals about 14,000 per volley. They only get one volley before the police show up and kill them. This should make us immune to at least that kind of opportunistic death. So we're about as fast as we can be, we're about as tanked as we can be, unless we start spending money on rigs. And if I was going to do rigs, I wouldn't do tank anyway. What I would do is come down to astronautic rigs, medium, because that's medium size, and I put these hyperspace velocity ones on. This is the speed in warp, so it's 4.5 astronomical units a second. Adding 3 of these, we bump that up to 7, so that would make us quite a bit faster. We only have 2 million, so I don't really want to spend all our money on these, and we don't really need them. But if I was going to rig it, that's how I would do it. So I'm going to take a deep breath. There's an hour and 6 minutes to get all the way up to Jita. One thing I did forget to say was the green triangles. Now, these have also been invaded, but through experience and another cheaty website, I know that these invasions have been won by the good guys, so these are safe for us to travel through. Not every green triangle is safe to travel through. You will have to consult the cheaty website, which I will link in the description below. You can search inside that website by pressing Ctrl F on your browser and then typing in the name of the system you wish to know information about. The good guys have conquered the system and they've placed these absolutely enormous heavy gun turrets all over the place. Still don't want to hang around too long because the bad guys are still roaming in little groups. Get out as soon as you can. When the bad guys have won a system, they will actually sit on these gates in giant fleets of about 30 or 40 ships and they will just absolutely destroy you. The stars in the background aren't just there for decoration, they're the actual systems you travel to. That's what this line is. This is our route path in space, so we're going there, then we're going there, then we're going there, and there, and all the way through. These nebulae are the actual regions. Flashing red means he's just killed someone. Apparently the police have just destroyed his ship and he's sitting there in a capsule. And that looks like his victim, an industrial. This is why we add tank. Flashing yellow skull means he's just stolen something from someone, and anyone in the game has 15 minutes to attack him. He's probably sat in a station sitting out the timer. That's what I do anyway. People will steal something to goad you into attacking them, and they'll be in a proper PvP ship and they'll destroy you. That's what is known as suspect baiting. Happens a lot outside trade hub stations. This is what an invasion is like. Luckily for us, this is a massive fleet of good guy NPCs. Bad guys had won, that would have been bad guys and we would already be dead. Players can fight for the bad guys and get positive standings with them, in which case it's reverse for them. Good guy fleets will wreck them. After travelling through 2 or 3 different regions that were within the Amarr Empire, we're now leaving the Amarr Empire and travelling through Minmatar space. What this rusty red cloud is, we're going from the nice golden background to rusty red. We don't actually fly to the star, but this star gate will be perfectly pointing at the star we're travelling to. Just like that. There we go. Rusty red. Stargates are all low tech and angry looking. Like these nice little touches of lore. Yeah, we're travelling through Gallente space in a while. And then into Caldari space, which is where Jita lives. So we're doing a tour of all 4 empires. How's about that? This yellow skull, which is not flashing, just means that he has a low security status. So he's been naughty in the past, but he hasn't stolen anything at this particular moment. Doesn't give you any aggro rights or him, just means be warned, this guy has been quite bad in the past. Got all the icons of the various different types of player run stations. I'm sure we'll get into that in more detail later on. The arrow means you have docking permission. If you didn't, it would be a diagonal slash. But only ones you have docking permission with will populate in the overview, unless they're really close. In which case you will see them, but they will have the diagonal slash. Okay, this next jump will be taking us into Gallente space. Green background, that's where we came from, the Minmatar Republic. One region there, other one there I think. Just makes the game feel more real and more alive. Even though moons don't actually orbit planets and planets don't orbit suns and none of the stars move, but we won't talk about that. Alright, we will talk about it. That's so when you drop the custom bookmarks like we were doing in the missions, if everything moved, then your bookmarks would become irrelevant. Because your bookmark would still be there. But nothing else would. So Eve keeps it static so you always know where everything is and it's always at exactly the same angle and exactly the same distance. This becomes much more important later on, especially if you're doing PvP fleets and you need to have little bookmarks all over the place. We're well over halfway there now and it's only 10:21. We're doing well. I think when we get to Jita I will throw on these hyperspace rigs to make this ship walk faster. Because Jita's the largest market in the game, I think we'll probably be making a few trips up there. It'd be nice to cut down this travel time as much as possible in any way possible. The Sigil is the smaller of the two Amarr haulers, the other one is a Bestower, which I will show you in just a moment. And check that. Bestower carries way more cargo. It's the largest of all the Tech 1 haulers, but it's very slow. It's got a tiny tank. I would not use it for this kind of work. It's more useful for in-system kind of stuff, like hauling large amounts of ore or large amounts of other things. So with our skills, we could get it to 35,855 cubic meters. We spent 20 million on the expensive cargo rigs. Even without them, it's only 3.8 and it still homes 21.5. Even a flat pack cruiser takes about 10, I think. Yeah, 10,000 repackaged. So we could probably stuff a couple of cruisers in there and some other stuff. But it's not as safe as actually flying the cruiser itself. This timer at the top, every time you jump a gate, you're provided with a 1 minute cloak where no one can see you unless something gets within a couple of thousand meters, which will decloak you. This gives you a few seconds to scan around, see if there's anything bad on the gate, and if there is, you can work out what to do about it before the cloak runs out. Yeah, there is a guy with low security status, but he's not a threat, so we'll just move on. As soon as you move, the cloak will end, as you'll see. Looks pretty cool. Likewise, when you exit a station, you're not cloaked, but you are invulnerable for 30 seconds until you actually move or do anything else. So that gives you enough time to quickly scan around and maybe dock back in the station if bad stuff's outside. Some stations, however, when you undock, you automatically undock outside of their docking distance. These are known as kick-out stations, and they can be bad. I'm sure I've got a link for that somewhere. I've got links for everything. Let's see. Leave station undock. Right, I shall link that in the video and let you have a look on your own. Where we're going now is Udama. This is directly between Jita and the Dixie trade hubs. And this is another favourite haunt for bad guys to kill people. I suppose I should explain why now. System security determines which ores spawn in it. Well, it did until the 13th of October, it probably doesn't now. And if NPCs spawn in the asteroid belts, they do not in 1.0 or 0.9, they do in 0.8 to 0.5. And most importantly, and crucially, police take longer to appear in lower security systems. In 1.0 it's about 6 seconds, so someone who wants to kill you only has 6 seconds in which to do so before the police turn up and kill them. In 0.5 it can be as slow as 20 seconds, and that's quite a significant amount of time. So that's why Udama being 0.5 is pretty dangerous. In the one beforehand, Savala is 0.6 and Hatamo is 0.6. They're also fairly dangerous, but not as bad as Udama. There's an infamous pilot called Johnny Cusion who flies several different ships. I mean, at the same time, he's got lots of different accounts and he multi-boxes them. They're all called Cusion, and he kills a lot of people in Udama. I think he operates in the US time zone, so he's probably still asleep because it's 2 AM there. Lucky for us. Time zone tank, best tank. If you expand on the system information, it tells you the sovereignty, i.e. who owns the system you're in. So we're in Caldari State already. Very nearly at Jita, and it's only 10:29. Not too bad. But I'm going to put a tractor beam and a salvager on, just in case we find a dead ship on a Stargate. I'll just stop the ship, tractor it and loot it. Because I have sometimes in the past found a great deal of money on wrecks just lying around in gates. One of them was this Russian guy in a Tech 2 battleship who had somehow managed to bring the police down upon himself. And his wreck was just lying there, blue. And blue wrecks are abandoned, that means they're free for anyone to take. The NPC police automatically blew them. It was in a little dead end system in the back end of nowhere. I don't know what he'd been doing. He must have shot at the gate or used a smart bomb and hit something neutral. And I got about 2.5 billion, that's billion with a B, 2.5 billion worth of loot. Because his ship was seriously kitted out with some very expensive stuff. And I got quite a lot from the salvage as well. I got some nice Tech 2 materials from the salvage. Thank you, Mr. Russian, you made my day that day. You didn't have quite so good a day. I don't know he was Russian because I immediately clicked on his character info and his biography was all in Cyrillic. You're nearly there, actually. If I remember correctly, this was Minmatar, the market details. Yep, there we are. Now this station is really cool. It's the largest station that players can own. This one is jointly owned by all the massive player alliances out in nullsec. They're all at war at the minute, but it's not a real war because they haven't actually attacked this. That's when it's a real war, and they actually fight each other over control of this thing. Look at the size of that! Cool, we made it. Safe and sound. Drag this down here. Right click. Sell. 94 million. Sell. You're about to sell one item. Yes, please. That's a happy sight, isn't it? Outstanding. Right, let's carry on. Go to Jita. Sell the rest of this. One of these was destroyed last night out in nullsec as part of the war. Goonswarm are the largest federation in the game and they're under siege at the minute. Their enemies placed one of these giant keep stars in one of the goon systems and the goons destroyed it to try and keep them out. But they lost a lot of ships doing it. It's all very exciting out there at the minute. Uh-oh. Bad guy. This guy's stolen something in a prowler. He's probably stolen it from this wreck of someone else's hauler. So if anyone wanted to attack him, they could. We don't have guns and we're not very good at fighting. Yellow wreck means it's owned by someone else, and if you take any loot from it, you will turn flashy yellow and someone will have 15 minutes to kill you. Local chat in Jita. What a disaster. Scams, bots, nonsense. 1104 people in system. Just switch to this. The scrolling might trigger epilepsy. And people draw stupid signs with mobile depots. That's why I removed them from the overview a few days ago. The station's currently under expansion. Just to make it look bigger because it's so important. This is the Tranquility invasion bad guys sing. Another thief. More security, more security. You click. Open this. It's not there. Right, let's assemble the executioner because I want to use it for something. With it. With an enduring micro warp drive. There they are. And through these overdrive injectors. Yeah. Now I wanted to bring this ship because it's the fastest ship we have. With the micro warp drive on, it's cap stable and goes 3,760 meters a second. So why didn't I do this? Because when you undock from a station, as I said, you're given 30 seconds of invulnerability unless you move, and as soon as you start to attempt a warp, you move. So we know that this takes 8 or 9 seconds to warp, so that's more than enough time for someone to lock us and shoot at us. And Jita's so busy that quite often you'll bump into other ships and it'll cancel your warp and you'll have to restart, so you could be bumping into things for 3 minutes until the 3-minute automatic warp timer kicks in. So I prefer to fit one of these fast ships, undock, turn the micro warp drive on, and just let it fly its own straight course until we're a few thousand kilometers off the station and drop a bookmark. And then every time we undock on a slower ship, we can warp straight to that bookmark. And when you undock, you're already lined up with it and you're already going maximum speed, so you'll instantly warp to that bookmark. A really, really handy tip known as an instant undock bookmark. So I will be making one of these as soon as I solve all of this, like that. So some of this will be unsellable. Why does it sound like an error? Slightly underpriced, but like 0.1%, 36, don't really care. So, yes, I know they're all underpriced, right, and this can't be sold, so let's just trash it. Trash. Let's upgrade this. The salvager. Tractor beam. 2 million, but they're very handy. And the hyperspace rigs, because we're rich. Cool, there they are. Exit. Salvager, tractor beam. Yes. 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 Right, that'll make the trip home easier. So let's change into this. Undock. Turn this on and just let it drift its own merry way. Maybe bumped off a few things, but managed to survive. X. Check the salvage tab. Yep. Caldari. Lots of nonsense happens outside trade hubs, like I mentioned in a previous video. This one more than all the others. I think eventually that is going to join up with this. The station is going to become huge. Originally it was just this little bit in the middle. After 16-17 years of it being the biggest trade hub in the game, the developers have decided to make it look like it. Yeah, it looked exactly like this one. That's what it used to look like, and now it's much, much bigger. What we do now, we just coast along. The minimum warp distance is 150 kilometers, so I could just drop a bookmark here, and that means we're still within sight of the station. And still within weapons range. Some ships can target and fire out to 250 kilometers, so let's go at least that far away. And the overview shows things to about 8,000 kilometers and then you disappear. It would be nice to be clear of the overview, so that when we undock and warp to our ping, we just totally disappear from this list. If you make it too close and are still on this list, the eagle-eyed pirates could possibly realise where you are, copy this, what we are doing, go out to exactly the same distance, make their own bookmark. Then next time you undock after buying something really expensive and warp to your bookmark, they'll see where you've gone and they'll recognise you, because they will have named their bookmark with your name, and they'll warp right on top of you. You'll think, oh, my safe bookmark's not safe anymore, why am I dead? Wish I didn't go out far enough. I'm not sure if that's going to link up with that. Wow, if it does, this will be absolutely enormous. So I think I shall go and grab a hot beverage, and we'll just fly straight for a few thousand kilometers. Oh, it's a daily server shutdown initiated. We didn't quite make it out to 8,000, that one didn't even make it to 4,000. Because although we're going very fast for us, it would still take about 40 minutes to get out to 8,000, so we'll just drop a bookmark here, call it Jita undock 1. Never? And we'll dock back at the station. Lots of fighting going on. Oh, that is a signal beacon. When someone in low security space has activated a beacon and someone's used their jump drives to jump directly to it. It's extremely cool. Repackage our little ship. Pack it back in the container. Take the modules with us. Undock. Open people and places. Here's our little bookmark. Now instead of spending 7 seconds up to 0 on our new undock, bounce off a ship. This is ruining my example, isn't it? Still faster than 7 seconds. But that's why you do that, so you can get out of all that nonsense as quickly as possible. We need to set destination home. We might have enough time to get through one Stargate and then dock up. After downtime, I will fly to Amarr and then we shall talk about cruisers. Okay, we're back. Downtime actually was exactly 15 minutes today. It's quite unusual. But it does mean we can get our daily reward, because downtime is the trigger for that. So let's get that. There you go. 50,000 more. Claim our cash. Thank you very much. That'll come in handy. Now these NPCs here are lancers. Even though they're red, they're passive. Unless you attack them, or if they find a frozen corpse on board your ship. Yes, really. The lore is they're looking for dead bodies to then upload mines into and make them into space zombies, called them drifters. They're connected to the lore of wormholes. We broke into wormhole space, found this giant construction a bit like the Matrix, where the drifter race had uploaded their mines to, and the Lancers were the sentinels that were looking after them. So now they've come back through the wormholes and they're looking for bodies to try and wake up the dead race. It's all very sci-fi, but then this is a spaceships game. Here we see some stations that are within overview range and with the diagonal slash, so we don't have docking access. Yeah, what have we got here? A dead industrial. 4 dead cruisers. So someone's been attacked. Can't tractor beam these because tractor beams don't work on yellow things, just white or blue. I think we'll slowly drift down and get some salvage from it. And you can salvage yellow wrecks because it's not stealing. Because for some reason the developers have decided that salvaging is just okay. Perfectly acceptable to do that. Now this person died recently because wrecks are deleted at 11 o'clock. Hooray! Got some actual salvage. Remember I fitted rigs to the ship? And salvage, as you can see here in the blueprint, salvage is used to construct rigs. It's worth a little bit. It does stack up over time though. And this isn't bad, 142,000 per unit of that, lovely. It's not bad for free. And all you have to do is keep your eyes open. Let's carry on with our journey. Nice. How much did we get for that? 799,000. Okay, here we are again. Made it. Sell the salvage, first of all. This and this over here. Select all. Sell items. Brilliant. Absolutely excellent. Okay, now let's talk about cruisers. During our little shopping trip, I took a liberty and I made some cruiser fits. The Omen gets a reduction to activation cost and rate of fire of turrets. The Maller gets turret damage and armor resistance bonuses, and the Arbitrator gets weapon destructor effectiveness and drone hit points, damage and mining yield. So the Arbitrator is a drone dedicated ship. This is the fit I've made. Lots of drones down here. The Arbitrator is weird because it has 4 high slots, 2 turret slots and 3 missile slots. So you can do 2 turrets and 2 missiles, or 3 missiles and 1 turret, or 3 missiles and 1 utility, or like I've done here, 2 turrets and 2 utility. 4 mid slots, 5 low slots. This module is very cool. It's a reactive armor hardener. It does 15 points per type of damage, but these 60 points of damage resistance can change over time, but every 10-second cycle. Some of these points will shift across to match exactly what you're being shot with. So if you're only being shot with EM, all these points will over time move over here and you'll end up with 60% to EM. Most NPC fire 2 different types, so EM thermal will both end up as 30 and 30. This is pretty cool. I like this thing a lot. So that's why that's there. Medium armor repairer to repair, heatsink to boost the damage of our guns, and 2 drone damage amplifiers to amplify the damage of our drones. Now, depending on your different skill levels, when you mouse over the damage per second, turn all these off. Base, we have 45 DPS on the turrets and 75 from 3 medium drones. It should be 3 medium drones. Fitting window automatically assumes that you've got drones level 5. These are medium drones. Each one does double the damage of a light drone. So if we've got skills to fly 3, we'll just fly 3 mediums, because we've got 50 bandwidth and each of these is 10. As I was saying, base, our turrets are 45.3 and the drones are 53.2. So naturally you want to boost the one that you've got most damage in. And then do it again. Here we are, 71.5, 45.3. You could of course duplicate this and total goes up to 123. But then I'd quite like the turrets to actually be able to contribute something good. So that's why I put 1 heatsink in. So the turrets are doing 54.1 and the drones are doing 71.5. This is a mix. Because our skill level is still quite low, this is not much more than a Punisher that's doing like what, 113, but it is a lot more survivable. A, because this will give us better resistances, B, because that's a medium armor repairer, and C, because we've got 1725 armor hit points. It's slower, even with an afterburner, 522, but that's because it's a cruiser. This is a tracking computer. This increases the tracking and the fall off and the optimal range of your weapons. It can be specialized with scripts like this, which doubles one aspect and removes the other 2. Or the optimal range one just removes tracking and buffs both the fall off and optimal. Do you remember I said earlier, larger weapons turn slower? And the Punisher had tracking 200 something, this is only 37.08, and that's with this module active. 29.9, so it's always good to boost the tracking. This module here increases your targeting range and your scan resolution. Scan resolution is your targeting speed. And if you remember, I also said that the larger the ship, the slower it is to target things. And we know that the refugees and drone site we had featured a lot of frigates. So larger ship targeting something smaller will take longer. So we had one of these. And this also has scripts. So there's a scan resolution. So this will give us 55% better scanning speed. And this is this thing here, scan resolution. That's what I came up with for the arbitrator. Obviously, as we get drones 4 and then drones 5, we'll get another 2 medium drones. And then as we increase the drone support skills, the DPS and this thing can get quite high. And its high slots are very useful because it almost comes with a built-in utility or two. And this one will let us scan the signatures as well as running the anomalies. The Omen, I've sacrificed one high slot to put a probe launcher in, but this then let me fit larger versions of the medium laser guns. We wouldn't be able to fit 5 of these on. 5 of the slightly smaller ones, yes, but that was a compromise I had to make. Nowhere near cap stable, even with the afterburner off, and capacitor rigs and module. I've got to say on the arbitrator, this is one of my favourite modules in the whole game. When you've got good enough skills, a single large compact cat battery on a cruiser will let you run everything with maybe one rig. But it's a very, very powerful thing. Let's just turn it off and see what happens. The capacitor depletes in 1 minute 50 with it on, 8 minutes 44. So this one thing gives you an extra 7 minutes, 45 minutes 30 with this. So this is near as damn it to being camp stable. 159.4 DPS is pretty good. Again, it's assuming that we have drones 5. We only have drones 3. So our realistic sustainable DPS is 144. But if we need to, we can go up to 182.7 if we have to kill something really tough. And as before, tracking computer. We've only got 3 mid slots, so I couldn't fit in the sensor booster, but there is a signal amplifier, which is a passive version. It does slightly less bonuses and it can't be scripted to specialise it, but it still increases it a little bit, so it was worth having. There is a version without the probe launcher if you just want to do anomalies. It's exactly the same, apart from it's the slightly smaller pulse lasers. 203.6 or 163.5 sustained. Well, sustained for half an hour. That's pretty damn good. Malor, and sacrifice the high slot. Only 3 mid slot, exactly the same as the Omen. Exactly the same as the Omen here. Surprise, surprise, this is actually stable, even with the high damage, high capacitor ammo, with the afterburner off. And I didn't even need 3 capacitor rigs. I was able to get away with 2, and add this on, which increases the damage per shot of this. This is 187.5, which is pretty good. The afterburner on, that's 7 minutes 10. I'm stable with ultraviolet, 147.6. But to be honest, capacitor only has to last long enough to kill the bad guys. You do not have to be capacitor stable. But on this particular ship, and for the thing I want to be using it for, you'll be going from site to site to site to site instantly. So we only really have the time in warp spent to replenish capacitor. So I don't mind being slightly unstable because we won't be using the afterburner all the time. So this is pretty damn good. I like this fit a lot. And again, I've done another one without the probe launcher. 193.2. This only holds 3 drones anyway, so I didn't have to worry about it, thinking we could use 5. Stable with the AB off. Although the Omen with just guns gives us more DPS, we can't sustain it for as long, and won't let us go site to site to site. So I think I'm going to buy this one. You remember the 2 combat sites, or the 3 combat sites we went into, the 2 refuges and 1 drone assembly, we landed almost right on top of the rats. So we might not even need the afterburner. Don't need long range because we're right on top of them. We do need tracking so we can actually hit. Drones can operate at whatever range you want. So I think I'm going to go right ahead and multi-buy this entire fit with everything on it. Obviously not 8, just 4. The fitting window gets confused with the ammo. It keeps counting the ammo that's in the guns and adds it back in here every time you close it. However, on these drones, you notice they're not the normal ones we had. These ones are. And why have we gone for the Imperial Navy? Well, they're better in every single way. Structure hit points 170, 170. Armor hit points 190, the little ones we've got now. These have 456, which is huge. Shield capacity, bigger as well. The important stuff's down here. Better tracking. They're faster. They have a higher damage modifier. This is the real magic. They still do 20, but that's multiplied by this. Faster orbit velocity as well. Imperial Navy ones only do slightly less damage in Tech 2 variants, but if you have a look at them, so Tech 2 gets 1.68, but Tech 2 also have this skill, which adds an extra 2% per level. So with maximum skills, these do get more damage than the Imperial Navy. Navy ones have better turret tracking, so these are more accurate and they'll land better quality hits or miss less often, and they have more shields and more armor. So these hit better and have more health, and these just hit a bit harder, but require 22 days, well nearly 23 days of training. And we can use these right now. So that's why I'm buying these. Check the quantities. We only need 16 of these. Only need 4 of these. Only need 4 of these. Don't even think we need extra really. I'll buy them. So, yep. All that. And it's worked out at 19.4. This is just estimated price, real price, at 19.4. Brilliant. So instead of assembling the ship, dragging it in and manually adding all this, something else you can do. Open your fit ship. There we are. This will automatically fit the entire fit. If you're a fleet commander and you need to fit a whole fleet of ships, you can just tell how many you want. As long as you've got the stuff and the ships, auto fit. Put this on. Put some ammo in it. Put some probes in it. And it's Control F9, check this thing out. It's a slightly less damage than the Omen, but you can do it for longer. And due to its armor resistance traits, it's a lot tougher. Shopping trip done. Made it safe and sound. Saw a few nice things along the way. Got some salvage, which was appreciated. Talked about cruisers. Made this, bought it, fitted it, flew it home. And thinking in the next few episodes, we'll go looking for cosmic signatures and try and replicate what we did with the Punisher, but in this. And I bet this will not have to warp out once, never mind 8 times. So, stay tuned for that. I shall see you soon.